Moore and Noah Kark, and you're watching Worldwide Sim Racing's live coverage of the 2020 WSR Formula World Championship. Thank you for joining us. It is the United States Grand Prix. We're in the final 4 rounds of the championship. We had our final 1-week break, and we're back for racing action in Worldwide Sim Racing. 4 more races to go in the championship. Very, very excited to be bringing you this live coverage of the championship as we get set for action here. And today it is high stakes for Flip Flop Fish. Leading the world championship, he only has to score 1 point in order to win the Grand Prix and to win, only 1 point to win the world championship. Leading away Sweet Crown 19 by a very considerable margin. So if he just scores 1 point today, he will be Worldwide Sim Racing World Champion for the F1 2019 game. Of course, previous winner Sweet Crown 19 did all he could to defend his championship, but ultimately it was up to no avail. Flip Flop Fish has been almost flawless the entire season, and we get set for action. It is just 10 seconds to go until session start time. Again, we are here at the United States Grand Prix in the Circuit de Americas in Austin, Texas, and let's get set for action here this evening. And here we are getting into short qualifying. Of course, short qualifying, the format is 18 minutes of non-stop action. Drivers are allowed to set as many laps as they want, of course, with the ultimate prize of getting pole position in the race. Tire strategy today, expected to stop. Tire wear worse than expected for drivers. A 3% lap decrease on mediums for 21 laps is 62% wear. Drivers are expected to start on softs, box laps 4 to 6. Start on mediums with the next box. We'll have to wait and see how drivers handle it. We expect soft to medium and then to mediums again. And we're just loading up into the lobby. And here we go. We have 19 drivers on the grid. I'm going to go over all of them. We have Caruto, Flip Flop Fish, Mushroom back in WSR today. Bam Bam, Burn It Down, Alpunk, DePaster, McChicken, Sea Freeze 22 is back on the lobby as well. Jonathan Cox, Dempsey, LR Ghosts, You See Me Flying, Niklas, Seargrist, Ben Swerven is back on the grid. Diego is on the grid. LSF1 Baker is on the grid. And making another return is Iconic Q. I believe that is in the Renault. Or it's one of the Haas cars. I do believe it is a Renault, though. And we're waiting for one driver to come out. We have 2 drivers coming out. There's a Racing Point and a Red Bull. I believe it's Alp, who is coming out of the pit lane in the pink Racing Point car. And let's ride on board of him for the first lap go-around on his outlap at the moment, coming down into Sector 1. Of course, this is the famous S's section of the Circuit de Americas, very reminiscent of Maggins and Beckett's in Silverstone. Coming out of the S's. Another quick turn right there, also very easy to mess up. And now a little uphill section, very easy to mess up many of these corners. Now coming down towards the hairpin and then the long DRS straight. Braking hard and late and then coming around the hairpin and letting the engine roar. Of course, the Racing Point powered by the Mercedes-Benz power unit. And it is a beautiful power engine indeed. And we have sporting a red and white helmet is Alpunk in this race. We also have a Red Bull behind him, and that is Niklas, who late in the season has had a lot of momentum. Of course, not in the championship fightings, however, has won 2 races in a row. He won the Canadian Grand Prix, and he also won the Australian Grand Prix on penalties. So with a lot of momentum, Of course, Nicholas would like to continue that momentum in this race, but Alp will come across the line first to set a lap, and he's actually coming around the final turn as we speak. Here we go, opening up the DRS flap, coming into turn number 1. It's an uphill turn, actually blind at the top of the hill, making sure to hit the apex well, and he does so, and getting good speed out of the exit. Coming down towards the S's. You want to take as much curve as possible. Use as much track as you can without invalidating. Looking smooth, and he's looking good. He came a little bit wide out of the turn there, but overall, pretty well calculated by Alp. We have a few drivers who are on laps. Mushroom, his teammate in the other racing point, is getting a go. And Carudo in the Ferrari, actually his teammate Baker, is out of the pit lane as well. Iconic Q is getting ready for another lap. And Tapastro's in the pit lane. McChicken in the Haas. Of course, we would love to see a Haas car get on the podium at least, possibly. And there's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Let's get the track map up for you. And it looks like there's a McLaren who had a spin. I think it might have been Seafreeze. But he will come around regardless, or he might have been slowing up the car. Maybe we're trying to warm up the tires a little bit. I'm going to get back on board of Alp, as he was the first driver to be setting a lap. Riding on board of him. He's at the end now, just coming into Sector 3. And he's going to be the first person to set a lap time. Coming into the penultimate turn, looking good. Final turn, very easy to cut the corner. And a little conservative in the final turn. He's going to come across the line, and it is a 131. We should see Nicholas come across. He goes second fastest. I'm riding on board of Carudo. There might be a few drivers behind. Mushroom is coming into the pits, just doing a installation lap. Burn it down, coming out of the final, the long straight. Trying to ride on board of somebody's going to finish a lap. It is going to be Usumi Fly-In next to come across the line. He will go third fastest. Flip-Flop Fish is getting slipstream from Baker right now. Might be on for a very good lap. Comes out of the final turn, very good exit, and only third fastest, though. He might actually have been held up by Baker. In fact, I thought he might have gone some slipstream. Nevertheless, Burn It Down in the Williams is coming around the final turn. Let's see what that lap time is going to be. Fourth fastest for him. There's another time coming across. Tapastor has an invalidated lap time, and we saw Ben Swerven go 7th fastest. I'm going to try to ride on board of Iconic Q, and he is going for another lap. I guess his previous one was invalidated. Bam Bam locks up into a turn. Tapastor is going to come across the line, looks like next. Somebody went fast. The two McLarens are far up the grid, actually. Tapastor comes across the line, and he will try to go for another lap, as there was an invalidation on the previous lap. McChicken is coming in through the hairpin, going for another lap. Baker is on another lap. So a few drivers trying to set lap times again. Carudo. No, that wasn't Carudo. Who was it? Bam Bam went 8th fastest in the Toro Rosso. Tapastor, trying to get out of the way of a McLaren driver. He actually went fastest in the first sector. So looking good right now for Tapastor on this next lap. McChicken again has invalidated his time. Baker is coming around the penultimate turn and will now come around the final turn. We'll look to set a time in his SF90. And here we go, coming across the line. What's the time going to be? And it's going to be 7th fastest ahead of his teammate. Tapastor is coming around now. Iconic Q is invalidated again, and this time we'll go back into the pits. Will not set a time at the moment. Here comes Tapastor, taking a wide line, hitting the apex well, getting a good exit out of the turn. It's looking good for Tapastor right now, as he just entered Sector 3. Was not a quick Sector 2, it looked like. So we'll have to wait and see how fast Tapastor is as he comes into the final turn in the Renault. Goes wide out of the exit, but that's fine. 6th fastest for him. Not a bad position at all for him right there. Seafreeze is, I believe, going to come into the pits. Yes, he's on low fuel. So at the moment, it's Diego on pole. He's getting held up by his teammate. Diego's on pole, and it's Alp in 2nd. LR Ghost in 3rd. Seafreeze in 4th. Nicholas, winner of the last 2 races, is in 5th. Very, very interesting to say the least. The track is going to get a little hotter. Bam Bam is invalidated this lap. Mushroom going for another lap in the Racing Point. His teammate is second on the grid right now. He kind of slid out of the turn there a little unstable, but he's fastest in Sector 1 regardless. And, ooh, the back end is dancing around there, misbehaving a little bit at the rear end for that Racing Point car, but nevertheless, he is on a charge right now as we ride on board of him and seeing that star on the top of his red helmet and coming down the grid, coming down the DRS straight. And we'll see what his Sector 2 time is going to be. He's just coming around the final turn at the end of Sector 2. A good hit on the apex there. And it is not fastest in the second sector. He might not have had any slipstream. I think there's a Ferrari who's had a spin somewhere. It might have been Caruto. Mushroom still valid. A little bit squirmy exit out of the turn there. He's in Sector 3 right now, finishing up his lap. And here we go, coming into the penultimate turn. There's another yellow flag, and almost track extended a little bit too much. Now, final turn, misses the apex there. Let's see what this time is going to be by Mushroom. It will be 9th fastest into the top 10, so he's in scoring position, but it's not nearly as good as Alp's time. About 2 seconds off the pace of his teammate. Dempsey has invalidated. Segrist will set a time. It's going to be a fastest for the Alfa Romeo driver, far ahead of his teammate. Jonathan Cox is into the pits, an outlap right now for McChicken in the Haas. Both Haas drivers have not yet set times, and they will obviously like to. Haas has never really had great momentum at the United States Grand Prix with equal cars. Maybe they're looking to change that today. Diego is on pole position right now. Alp is on another lap. He's actually just about to finish his lap. He's coming around the penultimate turn here. Let's see how he does. And it's actually not looking super fast, so he might be going for another lap. I'm going to ride on board of him. Yep, he saved up pretty much all of his ERS, so he's going to go again. And here we go. I'm going to ride on board of Alp as he sets going for another lap. Dempsey has apparently left the session. That might have been a disconnect. Let's see if he can get back into the lobby. And Alp is coming, barreling down towards the S's. Let's see how he takes him. Nice flowing throttle. Keeping it nice and steady. That's a purple Sector 1. It looked beautiful on board, as I'm sure it was in his wheel. Now a little squirmy out of the exit, but he holds it well, coming towards the hairpin. Very wide this hairpin is, very easy to get it done. The real trick is the exit, which he does perfectly as well. There's another yellow flag. I think drivers are just letting by other drivers. Alp is coming down the DRS zone. He's going to come around that final turn before the end of Sector 2. Let's see how he slows it down well. He hits the apex beautifully. Let's see what the Sector 2 time. It is fastest Sector 2. So Alp is on the charge right now in Sector 3, losing the car a little bit there. He had to correct the car there. It oversteered a little bit. Now coming through the final few turns, which are long, sweeping right-hand turns. And now he'll come into a final lefter before the end of the lap, which is another left-hand turn. Very easy to cut. He hits it just about perfect, runs just a tad wide on the curb, and it is pole position, and it is a full, looks like 2/10 clear of Diego's time. Diego is on the charge as well. I didn't see what the Sector 1's time was. I'm going to actually get the splits up for you with the lap data, and we'll see what his Sector 2 time is going to be as we get an interesting camera shot on the hinge there of the rear wing. Here comes Diego, end of Sector 2, and it is not a fastest Sector 2. So Diego right now not on the charge. Nicolas has gone third fastest. He has jumped the two McLarens who are still sitting in the pits. Diego is coming around the final few sweeping turns, and then again it's that penultimate left-hander, and then the final left-hander. He went a little wide, but kept it okay. There's another yellow flag somewhere. It looks to be a Racing Point. And coming across the line It is an improvement, but it is not pole position. He went fastest in the third sector, almost down to a 31 flat. Flip-Flop Fish has an invalidated time. He's down to 6th on the grid. Of course, Flip-Flop Fish, being from the United States, would love to claim victory here. Maybe McChicken, though, in the Haas. He is coming around the final few turns, but this is not a time to behold. He is 7th fastest on the grid, though. His teammate, Jonathan Cox, who has had great qualifyings in the past, is sitting pretty low on the grid, and then right there invalidates his time. Again, he'll have to go in the pit lane and probably put on a new set of softs, if he has them, and go for another lap. There is just 5 minutes left to go in qualifying, and it's Alp on pole, Diego in second, Nicholas in third. The two McLarens who have not come out of the pits again are fourth and fifth. The Pastor is 8th fastest, a good position for him. Iconic Q is on an outlap, has not yet set a time. This outlap is invalidated, but it's okay. He'll come around the final turn, and he will try to set another lap. Here we go in the Renault. Iconic Q back in WSR. Here we go. Coming up towards turn number 1. Let's see how he handles it. And misses the apex. Goes a little wide, but gets a good exit nonetheless. I think we can forgive him there. Coming through the S's now. Looking good. Ooh, had to slow up a little bit there. A Racing Point gets out of the way. He had to slow up a little bit through the S's. The momentum was not perfect for him. And here we go, coming down towards the hairpin. And then the long DRS detection zone. The yellow flag, again, looks to be Sector 1 and 2. End of Sector 1, Sector 2 again. I think drivers are just letting other drivers by. Here comes Iconic Q. He's coming towards the end. I think that's his team. No, it's a Haas, I believe, behind him. Or it's a Racing Point. Nonetheless, there might be a Racing Point getting slipstream off of him, though I don't see much drivers on their current laps. Actually, no, it might be Mushroom. But it is purple Sector 2 for Iconic Q. So looking good right now. Iconic Q, of course, has had mostly invalidated laps throughout qualifying. Here we go, coming through. Let's see how he does. I believe this is the penultimate turn. Yes, it is. He goes a little wide out of there, but looks good. Now the final turn. Again, easy to invalidate. He doesn't do so. Coming across the line, it's not going to be pole. It's going to be just shy of the top 10. So not a quick end of the lap for Iconic Q, but he will finally set a time, and it's 11th on the grid for him. Alp is on an outlap again. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to go. Drivers would like to be leaving now to set another lap. I believe one of the Renaults is coming out. A few drivers are coming out now. I am looking to see if Nicholas is coming out, and I do believe that is Nicholas's car. No, it's his teammate. I didn't think there was a Red Bull teammate. No? I thought that was the Red Bull coming out. No, it is. That is him coming out. Here we go. And Alp is setting another lap, and here we go. It's a 1:38 at the moment. Diego is invalidated this outlap, but it doesn't really matter too much. Yellow flag, Sector 1. As it's going to get pretty busy here, depending on who got out first. Alp is setting another lap, though, trying to get on pole position. Takes a little bit more of the curb through the S's than the previous lap, and it is purple again in Sector 1. Alp has come out of the pit lane and has improved every time in Sector 1. That was a ferocious few center S's right there, and here we go, coming towards the hairpin and now the DRS zone. And let's see how it goes here. Coming down, opens up the DRS flap now. And he is slowing up. Is he aborting? He's aborting his lap. Now, I think Alp has time to get around again, but he was not happy with something. The car slowed down on the straight, and I think it was because of the car ahead of him. Maybe didn't want to get into any fights with, I believe it was Nicholas, who was coming ahead of him. Nonetheless, Nicholas is coming through sector number 3, and we'll try to set another lap. A minute left in qualifying. Diego is coming across the line to set another lap. Diego actually set a fastest third sector. while on that out lap, so that might be good news for him. Pushing the car real hard. Nice hit on the apex in the turn 1, and he's going to barrel down into the S's. Diego looking to get on pole position again in WSR. Alp will look to set another lap time, has a bountiful amount of ERS to play with, so he will try again. He was fastest in the first sector. And, Diego has invalidated his time, and he's not going to challenge for pole for sure. Niklas is coming through the S's. Let's see how he does. It's down by 0.4 of a second in the first sector for him. Actually, well, maybe not. I saw a plus there for a second. I thought it was a positive delta for him, but we'll have to wait and see. Caruto has retired from the session. Now, that was not, he had a crash. That was not in the pit lane. He had a crash somewhere in the S's, I believe. Alp has, I don't know if Alp has set a fastest sector 1. It's coming down the straight. Niklas is coming down towards the end of sector 2. It looks like Alp might have gone some maybe minor slipstream off of him. And he's plus in sector 2, so I'm led to believe at the moment Niklas is not on a pole position charge. He will have to have a mega sector number 3. And he's coming through the sweeping right-handers. Flip-Flop Fish only finished in 6th. He did not come out again. He wants to play it safe, it seems. Niklas is coming around the final few turns. Here we go. Final turn for Niklas. He was squirmy out of the penultimate turn. Here he comes across the line, and no, plus by 0.08 of a second. Alp is coming across the line, and he will not go faster. He's on pole position at the moment. LR Ghost jumped Diego on the line. Seafreeze is coming around the final turn. Where will he go? He might go faster. He goes up the 5th, knocks the Haas out of the top 5. Baker is not on a lap to behold, to say the least. Mushroom is stopped on track. He must have had a spin. And he's waiting, I presume, to when cars... there's a Haas there of Jonathan Cox, but he has finished his race. So, on pole position is going to be Alp in the Racing Point. LR Ghosts will be second on the grid. Diego in third. Niklas is in the top 5 again in qualifying. Seafreeze is 5th. Championship leader Flip-Flop Fish is starting 7th on the grid. So it will be interesting to see how he handles himself in this race. And we're just waiting. I believe there's 2 drivers in the pit lane coming into the pits now, and we're just waiting for them to finish up. If not, we'll have 40 seconds left in this portion. We're getting a new lobby. I'm hearing about a new lobby, perhaps. I'm here gonna go into the monitor session. So I'm hearing new lobby. Just for the race. So not a qualifying lobby. I am going to stay live. I will keep live, but I believe it will just be a race, and we will keep qualifying positions. So I believe I have to wait and see on that one. I believe everybody kept the record for the qualifying positions. So I'm just going to leave the session, ladies and gentlemen, and wait for a invite. So I apparently wrong settings in the game, which has unfortunately happened a few times in WSR, becoming a bit of a theme in the World Championship. So you can watch my awful safety rating there. Sorry, it's not my safety rating's A, but my awful silver 1365 and online. I haven't touched that in a million years. Level 43. Yeah, I mean, you can just look at my menu for a second as we get ready. I'm trying to wait for an invite. I'm going to look, and hopefully we'll get it soon. There is the invite from You See Me Flying, and we'll get back into a race. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for the interruption. And I will go back in the spectator mode. I believe it is just going to be a race and no qualifying. Once everybody gets into the lobby, we will get everything ready to go. Thank everybody for your patience. We're just getting everybody back into the lobby. I believe what we'll do is a custom grid based on the qualifying positions. And we will set everything up correctly. We're on 25% race distance, which is interesting. So, let's make sure that's not going to be the case. Please hold as we set up the grid, and then we will get started with the race. It's okay, ladies and gentlemen, with all the technical difficulties. If you ever were at Disney when it first opened up, nothing worked. So, I'm quite happy with how things are going. And we're back with a 50% raise. Still not getting noticed. And we're getting ready for session start. I believe soon. We have 19 drivers on the grid. I think the custom grid is just getting set up, and then we'll get ready to go. Thank you, everybody, for waiting patiently. We have 5 drivers ready. I'm just waiting for a confirmation, which I do not have at the moment, for when we'll have sessions start, but I do believe the grid is just about set up. Do apologize for the delay. And I do have a confirmation from Flip Flop Fish telling everybody they're ready up. So we're going to get started for the race. It's going to be a 50% race around the Circuit de Americas, 25 seconds until session start. Will be and we will see who wins the race. Alp on pole position. LR Ghosts aside him. Let's get ready. 10 seconds until session start. Very excited, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready for the first of the final 4 rounds of the championship. Flip Flop Fish just has to score 1 point to be world champion in WSR. It was Sweet Crown before him. Flip Flop Fish started last season, has gone better every race, and is now ready to be world champion, I believe. He would, of course, like to win the United States Grand Prix, but, of course, winning the championship in the United States would be nice regardless as well. And here we go, getting ready for the start. One thing that is going to change strategies is everybody will be starting on new tires. So that will be interesting for strategies. Guys will be able to go longer into the race, so we're expecting some later pit stops. That does kind of throw strategy a little bit better. It is heard the game shouting out Herman Tilke, the worst track designer in Formula 1. But anyway, we don't slander people here in WSR. Only opinions. We're getting ready. And there is the one red light for the formation lap. And let's go over your starting lineup for the United States Grand Prix. It is Alp on pole position, LR Ghost in second, Diego in third, Nick Gloss in fourth, C3s in fifth. McChicken in the Haas is sixth, Flip Flop Fish your championship leader in 7th. Burn It Down is 8th fastest in the Williams. Tapastor is 9th. LSF1 Baker will round off the top 10. Caroto in 11th. Segrist in 12th. Iconic Q in 13th. Mushroom in 14th. You See Me Flying is all the way down in 15th. His home race as well. Bam Bam sitting in 16th. Ben Swervin in 17th. Jonathan Cox, the other Haas, in 18th. Rounding off the grid is Dempsey, down in 19th position. Regulation laps is 28. And it's Alp coming down towards the end of the straight, trying to warm up his tires as much as he can to get the maximum launch off the line. Pole position does have the racing line on the start, so he will have a grip advantage. Coming in the turn number 1, we'll make sure to cut across LR Ghosts to get a good line, as having the inside line is crucial to get ahead of your opponent. It's the United States Grand Prix. It's the home of worldwide sim racing, and we're excited to bring you the coverage today. Coming around the penultimate turn, the AI will eventually take control of all the cars, and Alp is long ways away from the rest of the grid. I don't know if he necessarily wanted that, as the cars will... The tires will cool up a little bit, so I don't think he wanted to be doing that. He's pretty far ahead of the rest of the grid. He's going to sit on the grid quite long. There is the McLaren of LR Ghost lining up alongside him. Diego is sitting in 3rd, and Niklas right there in 4th. Seafreeze in 5th. Dempsey is now just slotting into his final position to start. And here we go, everybody's in their positions, and we're just getting ready for the 5 red lights to come on and off. And here we go. And it's 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and in the United States, it's go! And it's Ghost who got a fantastic start off the line and has jumped Alp in the turn number 1 and takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Alp is trying to go around the outside. Niklas is trying to take the inside line. He's currently 3rd on the grid, slots behind Alp, but getting good runs coming through the S's, now losing it a little bit with Dirty Air, and now it's Diego behind him. And the 2 drivers who clashed in Australia might be getting personal today here, as Seafreeze keeps 5th position. And we've had a few spins. Jonathan Cox in the Haas has had a spin. Ben Swervin is nowhere to be seen. I believe that's his car right there. And he has had a massive spin. He's all the way down back in Australia, as here comes Niklas coming down the straight line. And there's a safety car deployed. There's been a crash. Ben Swervin has had a crash. There's a collision with You See Me Flying. It looks to be Segrist says yes. There's front wing damage, and there's a 5-second penalty. And on lap number 1, there's immediately a safety car. Ben Swervin had a crash, and there is massive front wing damage on You See Me Flying's car. He had a contact with Segrist, who might have broke in front of him on that safety car coming out. And there is carnage already here. Flip Flop Fish has dropped positions. He's down in 9th. So if he wants to score a point to win the championship, this is not a good way to start it. And I'm not seeing anybody dive into the pits. There's a Ferrari who's going to dive in. That is, no, Caruto might have faked it, I think. So nobody electing to take pit. Nope, there is now. Well, You See Me Flying that front wing damage, so he will take that pit stop. And Jonathan Cox, is he going to go into the pits? Does he have damage as well? He doesn't, but he is going to take the pit stop anyway. LR Ghosts is in the lead of the Grand Prix after jumping Alp in the turn number 1. Alp is sitting in 2nd, Niklas in 3rd. Diego in 4th behind him. McChicken in the Haas is up to 5th. A good start by McChicken. Looking to score some good points for the American outfit here. We're under safety car conditions. It's lap number 2 of 28. This is going to be a long race, ladies and gentlemen, I think. We might see some major action and maybe some major incidences. I finally find my phone. Ben Swerven did not have a good race, to say the least. Starting on brand new tires did not help him much. I'm expecting probably another lap of safety car, and then we'll have, I believe the next lap after that, the safety car should go in, and then we'll get back to racing conditions. But a McLaren in the lead, and it's LR Ghosts. We haven't seen a McLaren win in WSR. We might see it today if LR Ghost can keep it up. Alp in the Racing Point also trying to get some good gold for the British outfit. And Niklas, of course, back in the mix again. He's currently 3rd on the grid. He's had 2 wins on the trot, 2 in a row. He might be looking for some gold as well. Diego behind him has tasted that before as well. McChicken in the best position he's been all season long. He, of course, is from WSR 2 and got a reserve promotion today up into tier number 1. McChicken looking to make his claim in the main tier of WSR. This is live coverage of the 2020 WSR Formula World Championship. You're watching us for the United States Grand Prix. LR Ghosts leads the Grand Prix. Alp is in 2nd, Niklas in 3rd. Diego is sitting in 4th in the Williams, and rounding off the top 5 is the American Haas car of McChicken. We're on lap number 3 under safety car conditions after a crash from Ben Swerven early on in the race. And we're just waiting to get back under green flag conditions. And coming down the straight, not much to talk about here. Only 1 lap, not even 1 lap of racing, and we already had a safety car, and they're becoming a little prone in WSR now as our Ghost is coming alongside the safety car, maybe going a little bit too slow for his taste, trying to warm up those soft compound tires, which are brand new. Of course, we'll go longer in this race, and the safety car is going to be in this lap, as I predicted it would be. And LR Ghost is the pace setter now, so he will control the pack. Alp is sitting in 2nd. Niklas is going to try to stick to the back of Alp, get a good start off the line, get himself in the 2nd. Niklas quickly becoming a fan favorite in WSR. And here we go. LR Ghosts coming around that final right-hand turn before the final few lefts. Iconic Q, 5-second penalty for a severe collision under safety car. Not good for his race. Does he have front wing damage? He might. He hit the back of one of the Ferraris. Here come around the final turn. LR Ghost. Ooh, wheel spin off the line. Alp is trying to follow him. Niklas got a great start in the slipstream of Alp. Here we go in the turn number 1. He's going to dive around the outside. Alp defends well, moves to that outside line, and closes him off. Now Nick trying to come around into the S's. He looked around the inside there, didn't make it happen. Now following through the S's, LR Ghost got a fantastic start off the line and is far ahead of Alp already. Alp is under pressure from the Red Bull driver on that safety car restart. Diego got a okay start, but he's a little further back than Niklas, and I think he would have liked. McChicken is all over the Williams right now, coming towards the hairpin. Nicklaus is going to try to send it on the inside, slots behind Alp instead, looking to do it on the straight. McChicken as well looked to send it there. Seafreeze under pressure from Burn It Down in the other Williams. Nicklaus losing it a little bit on the straight. McChicken keeping close. Flip Flop Fish is sitting in ninth, chasing down to Pastor in the Renault. Alp leaving the door open. Nicklaus staying close, following well. Coming on to lap number 5, just about. Coming through that penultimate turn. A little wide out of there. Alp is gaining a little bit more time. LR Ghosts is leaving Alp in the dust, though. Ghost fastest on track. Outside of a second. McChicken has dropped back a little bit from him. And here we go, lap number 5. LR Ghost in the lead, Alp in second. Nicklaus is sitting in third. Crucially, though, Alp is trying to get out of DRS range from... Sorry, LR Ghost trying to get out of DRS range from Alp, and it's working right now. 8/10 up on him. Nicklaus is dropping back a little bit. Diego, of course, trying to catch up to Nicklaus. They clashed in Australia. It was Diego who got a penalty out of the whole affair. Nicklaus did not. He did get a warning, though, for a turn 1 incident on lap number 1. Hopefully he stays nice and clean today. Coming down that DRS line is not DRS yet. Will be shortly. Flip Flop Fish is getting closer to Pastor and is trying to get ahead of him. The two Ferraris are battling right now. Carudo is on the inside of Baker and gets the job done. Puts himself in the 10th. Jonathan Cox has gone ahead of Mushroom. They're going side by side. Mushroom is trying to hang it around the outside, but ultimately loses out to the Haas driver. Mushroom is trying to look, and he's going to dive on the inside. The racing point on the Haas. This is a great side-by-side battle at the bottom of the track here. Then again, Jonathan Cox again gets ahead of him. Mushroom is trying to look for a place to make an overtake here, but DRS is now enabled. Crucially, LR Ghost outside of that DRS range. Nicklaus, of course, not going to have DRS on this first part of the track as he follows him up towards turn number 1, but he's almost outside of a second, so he needs to catch up some time in these S's. Diego has caught up time to Nicklaus. Flip Flop Fish has gone ahead of Tapastor, but Tapastor is still hanging it on the outside line, then slots behind the Mercedes. Diego much closer to Nicklaus than before. Nicklaus has lost it behind Alp and is now not going to have that same slipstream. However, Diego much faster at the moment than Nicklaus, trying to come into the DRS zone. Here we go. Gets a good apex line. Now coming onto that DRS zone. Nicklaus does not have that same straight line speed he would have liked. Diego is coming in hot. Here we go. He does have DRS. It's going to help him a little bit, but of course Diego is going to be on the charge. Has that little inside look, but ultimately slots behind him. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. Looks like one of the racing points, and it's Dempsey, who's had a spin on the S's all the way down in 18th. Good battle right now for the podium. Diego and Nicklaus. We've seen this battle before. It's gone personal before. Flip Flop Fish is chasing down Burn It Down in the Williams. Two Mercedes-powered cars. And here we go, coming through the final turn. Burn It Down, got a little wheel spin out of the exit. Of course, the Mercedes driver does have slipstream. He's coming down the line, Burn It Down, trying to break that slipstream. And Flip Flop Fish will take an outside line and get into 7th just about. McChicken gets ahead of Seafreeze. They're still side by side. Finally, Flip Flop Fish gets ahead of him, though. McChicken gets a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Not something he would have liked to do. Carudo gets ahead of... There's a spin somewhere. Tapastor has had a spin and has crashed and has front wing damage. Bad result right there for the Renault. Here comes Diego. Much closer to Nicklaus than the previous lap. Of course, Nicholas still going to have DRS, but it's going to be weakened, of course. Here comes Diego in the slipstream, getting close. Which line will he take? He's going to take the inside line, and he's going to try to send it on Nicholas. Nicholas trying to defend well, moves him, gives him room. Now it's Diego who gets ahead of Nicholas. Nicholas will try to take a counter-offensive. He might try to go on the inside here. No, he actually takes the outside line, maybe looking for a switchback. Diego puts himself in the third. There might be an overtake right there. Used to be flying left by to Pastor. Looks to be the case, at least. McChicken trying to get involved in on the action as well. Seafree's a little bit further behind than he would like to be. Here comes Nicholas. Now going to try to chase down Diego. Diego, crucially, does not have DRS coming down the start-finish line. Jonathan Cox, iconic Q into the pits. That is what the overtake was for. Let's see what tire he'll put on. He'll put on the medium tires. There's a little wait here. I believe this is the penalty that happened under safety car. He finally puts on those medium tires, and he will get on with his race. But he's going to go way down the grid, all the way down in 17th only before Dempsey, who is a long ways away from anybody else. Diego has caught back up, will get some DRS on Alp, but not a lot. Nicholas will be in a better position for an overtake here. McChicken, though, will get involved as well. Actually, he lost out quite a lot out of that hairpin. McChicken is in a better spot right now, actually catching up to Nicholas. Caruto gets ahead of Burn It Down, the Williams driver, slotting behind the Ferrari. There's a lockup from Caruto, though, but he keeps the position regardless. McChicken, an up promotion from WSR2. Yellow flag somewhere. That's another spin by Dempsey, I believe. He is spun again in the S's, and it has not been a good race for him. And is that the racing point going into the pit lane of Alp? Yes, it is. Alp, one of the leaders, finally goes into the pits. So Diego will start the fall LR Ghost, who has pretty much run away with this race at the moment, 3.7 seconds ahead of him. Nicholas is trying to chase down Diego, but just doesn't have the straight line speed. McChicken, however, is keeping up with the Red Bull driver. Ooh, but there's another 3-second time penalty, as you could clearly see. He extended a little bit too much of the S's there. And that's 6 seconds right now for McChicken. So he's performing well on track, but he's not being tidy around the corners. Lap number 9 of 28 in this race. Burn It Down, 3-second time penalty of his own. Coming down the straight, Nicholas is actually outside of DRS range, but he still got it just at the end there. But he is outside of a second to Diego, so he is losing time. McChicken is gaining time, so we might be seeing an overtake here unless the top drivers react. I think Ghost might react to Alp's pit. We'll have to wait and see. Alp is sitting down in 13th on the grid. I'm going to ride on board of LR Ghost, see what he does. Will he go into the pit lane? No, he will stay out. What does Diego do? Diego stays out. Nicholas, is he going in the pits? Yes, Nicholas will elect for a pit stop, preferably, I presume, putting on the medium tires. Most of the drivers ahead of him, though, do not. Seafree's in the pits. Flip-flop follows. Caruto also into the pits. Here comes Nicholas, and it is going to be hards, actually. Hard compound tire for Nicholas. Nicholas wants to go till the end of the race. I don't know if those hards are going to last till the end, but nevertheless, Nicholas with an alternate strategy, putting on the hard compound tire. And we'll have to wait and see how that works for him. He's sitting now. He comes out of the pit lane in 10th. Interesting decision by him. Bam Bam is chasing down Alp right now, sitting in 8th. He's jumped 2 positions from some of the overtakes. And Bam Bam lost a little bit there in the S's. Oh, there's a bit of a battle going here. Jonathan Cox is bumping wheels of Baker. He goes on the inside. Baker will now take the line here, and it goes a little wide out of the exit. I think it's the Haas who have DRS. Yes, he does. So that does help him quite a bit to get ahead of Baker just a little bit more. And there's a spin by somewhere. Again, Dempsey's had another spin. It's just been spinerinos for Dempsey right now. He has not had a good race at all. And he is sitting all the way down in 18th. And he is a minute and 8th behind. He finally will take a pit stop. I'm assuming going to put on the hards. LR goes into the pit lane. Here we go. He was just about to lap Dempsey. Diego makes his pit stop. McChicken will make his pit stop. Jonathan Cox will not follow. He started on the meet. Actually, did he take a pit stop already? I'm going to try to get the details there. Yes, Jonathan Cox has had a pit stop already. He's on the medium tire. Jonathan Cox is in the lead of the Grand Prix already with one pit stop. I think that was because he stopped already early on in the race. So Jonathan Cox is going to go long into this race, and is going to stay in the lead at the moment. We'll have to wait and see how that strategy plays out. Mushroom will stay in second, but I do believe he has he has mediums on as well. Does he have a pit stop, though? Trying to get... and no, he does not have a pit stop. Ghost is behind him, and is going to look to get ahead of him pretty quickly, as Mushroom got a terrible run out of there. Alp is behind and is going to try to get involved on this, and LR goes on the inside of Mushroom and pushes Mushroom a little wide and gets ahead of him. Now Alp is going to try to get ahead of Mushroom, his teammate, and they might be battling a little bit, but Mushroom preferably does stay behind him. Here comes Alp on Ghost. He's going to try to dive around the outside, and what was that? Mushroom crashed. Mushroom just straight on went and tried to take him out, that looked like. That was interesting, and that is the virtual safety car deployed, and he just didn't attempt to brake there. And pretty much the same kind of behavior we're known to seeing from Mushroom. Another intentional crash that looked like he tried to take out Alp. And I don't know if that was on purpose. I'm surprised. I'm just surprised. Jonathan Cox under virtual safety car is currently leading the Grand Prix, but that was an interesting decision by Mushroom. I don't know why he just decided to run run it there, but nonetheless, that was definitely intentional. An intentional crash which brought out a virtual safety car. That's going to be looked at after the race for sure. And I hope that he wasn't trying to take out Alp, but he almost clipped Alp right there. That could have ruined his race, and I don't really know why. I mean, it got a little personal on the track there, but you can't let your tempers flare that much, as Alp is coming into the hairpin here, trying to see if he can get ahead of Ghost. Ghost is 4.9 seconds behind Jonathan Cox, who does have old mediums, losing it a little bit there. Alp is coming down the DRS zone. He does have DRS. LR Ghost does not. Here we go. Will he try to make an overtake here? He's going to try to dive on the outside. He's going to take the outside line into the turn. Ghost has the inside line, and it looks to be good for Ghosts. Diego has gone ahead of Segrist. Niklas is battling with McChicken right now, taking the inside line. McChicken around the outside, trying to squeeze him on outside there. Weird outside line he took there. Now he's going to try to make a switchback maybe. Better exit looked to be for McChicken. Niklas covers it though. Getting a little personal between the Haas and the Red Bull. McChicken is diving around the outside of Niklas. Niklas has the inside line, still stays ahead of the Haas driver. Jonathan Cox gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Both Haas drivers under penalties right now. Dempsey finally has a 3-second time penalty after many spins. Insult to injury right there. 2 stops already for Dempsey. He could go to the end of the race probably. Ooh, there's a tap there by McChicken. He tapped the back of Nicholas. I think he's going to try to make a move into the hairpin maybe if he's lucky, but no, he'll slot behind him. And oh, he has a spin! He hits Nicholas in the back. That was almost a disaster for Nicholas. Oh, dearie me. That could have been really, really bad. That could have been really bad. Nicholas going on the inside. Now, Flip-Flop Fish is going to get involved in there. And I'm just getting a confirmation from Mushroom. He did lose his braking foot there. And now trying to go on the inside is Flip-Flop Fish. He took both of them. Amazing moves by Flip-Flop Fish. Now McChicken is trying to get ahead of him. Nicholas goes back into sixth. Flip-Flop Fish got compromised there. McChicken has front wing damage, though, from all of that. Almost spun Nicholas there. A confirmation from Mushroom. He lost his braking there, and that is why Jonathan Cox goes back into the pits and puts on new mediums. Flip-Flop Fish on the inside of Nicholas. Nicholas switching back. I'm trying to say Mushroom lost his braking foot there. He did not brake on purpose, so apologies for the accusations, but that was the issue there. So unfortunate to see him miss his braking zone there. Flip-Flop Fish is ahead of Nicholas at the moment. McChicken trying to follow suit, but does not have the same arrow as he once did. DePaster gets a 3-second time penalty. McChicken went wide there. Nicholas is going to try to chase down Flip-Flop Fish. LR Ghost is back into the lead. Alp is chasing him down, though. Does have DRS. Won't be making an overtake here, though. Flip-Flop Fish trying to break Slipstream. McChicken chasing him down. He has an inside line looking. I don't know if he's trying to go for a dive there or not, but oh, here's an overtake here by Seafreeze on one of the Haas drivers. That's Jonathan Cox. There might have been a little, sorry, on McChicken, actually, sorry. He's going to try to go on the inside maybe here. He looked at the inside, but elected not to. We're on lap number 14 of 28, coming towards the halfway point. In fact, it is just about the halfway point. An amazing run through there. Trying to take a move on the inside. He's getting held up a little bit here, I think, and was that must have been Dempsey, I believe. Letting by all the drivers there. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3 again. Jonathan Cox getting overtaken by Baker, it looks like, maybe. Interesting stuff, to say the least. Flip-Flop Fish has gone a little bit ahead of Nicholas, sitting in 6th at the moment. Not one of his strongest races so far. And we're on lap number 15. I have to bend my knees a little bit there. They're getting a little bit overextended, to say the least. Seafreeze is still in the slipstream of McChicken, trying to get ahead of him. He might be feeling he's getting a little held up right now by McChicken, who was missing part of his front wing. He might now get the overtake, as there's no there is DRS for McChicken, but still major slipstream right now for Seafreeze. I think he's going to try to dive on the inside, dispose of him. He's going to take the inside line, McChicken. He knew that. Still diving around the outside of Seafreeze, and McChicken does not give him a lot of room. And Seafreeze trying to dive on the inside, locks up the rear wheels. McChicken, I gotta be honest, is kind of fighting a useless battle right here with this front wing damage. Seafreeze is getting really held up behind him, and this is going to get interesting. Segrist is ahead of Nicholas. Nicholas down to 6th. Seafreeze still trying to chase down. Segrist has still not yet made a pit stop in this race. He's sitting in 5th right now. Here we go. Seafreeze does have DRS now. So does McChicken, though. Is he going to try to dive on the inside? He's going to make a big dive bomb on McChicken. McChicken will get the better exit and will slot ahead of him. Seafreeze is really impatient right now. Really wants to get ahead of McChicken. Coming through the S's now. He has the superior downforce. He actually loses it from McChicken. But McChicken is trying to hold his own right now, trying to keep Seafreeze behind. And Seafreeze is getting impatient. Nicklaus trying to get ahead of Segrist in the Alfa Romeo on the hard compound tire. Alp is going around the outside of Ghost. Ghost keeps it, then pushes him off track a little bit. Diego trying to get involved. Flip-flop Fish is loving this. Nicklaus goes on the inside of Segrist, gets it done. Seafreeze does not make a move on him yet. Diego sitting in third. Trying to chase down Alp. Alp is trying to chase down Ghost. It's going to be a good battle for the lead of the race. McChicken is trying to go around Segrist. Segrist is struggling. Now this might be Seafreeze's opportunity to make a move. Segrist finally goes into the pits. McChicken will overtake him. Seafreeze is in the slipstream, having a much better run. Will he go on the inside again? He's going to stay behind McChicken this time. He does not elect for the dive bomb. We'll try to get ahead of him on the next straight. Segrist will end up in 12th, maybe more. Yep, we'll move into 13th now as Iconic Q gets into 12th. Nicklaus, 3.5 seconds behind Flip-Flop Fish. Flip-Flop Fish, 7.3 seconds behind them. Diego trying to chase down Alp. Alp has lost it a little bit to LR Ghosts. Here comes Seafreeze. Surely an overtake now. There is DRS for McChicken, but he didn't get a good run. Here comes LR Ghost. Surely will get ahead of him now. And I'm going to ride on board with McChicken. McChicken will try to hold it around the outside. It's a dive bomb, and then another switchback by McChicken. He's going to now switch around to the outside lane, and then I think Seafreeze pushed him off track there. I think he just said, listen, buddy, you got front wing damage. You're holding me up. I need to get ahead of you eventually, and I think he just decided to do so. I'm actually going to finally get the detail off there. That was interesting to say the least, but Seafreeze is chasing down Nicklaus. Now, Nicklaus is having his own struggles with those hard compound tires. Diego gets a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. That's not going to be good for his race. Seafreeze in the slipstream of the Red Bull driver. He's in the top 5 right now. Might be dropping out of the top 5, though. Lap 18 of 28. And a good race so far. This United States Grand Prix, plenty of action. Iconic Q and Segrist are battling right now. Segrist currently ahead of Iconic Q, and I think he made that overtake in the center S's, so well done indeed on his part. Definitely not a usual overtake position, and surely Seafreeze with DRS in the slipstream should get ahead of him. Here we go. There's a spin. I think it's You See Me Flying who's had the spin there. Seafreeze trying to go around the outside. There's contact. Nicklaus hit Seafreeze. Getting a little personal now. Here we go. Is he going to try to make a move on the inside? No. Looks to get better straight line speed. McChicken has lost time. Here we go on this start-finish line. He might make a move in the turn number 1. He got a better exit, it looked like, than Nicklaus. Nicklaus will do all he can. He's going to move to the outside line. It's preferable to have the inside line, the turn number 1. On the inside is Nicklaus. Who gets the better exit? It is Nicklaus who gets the better exit. Seafreeze will try to hang it on the inside. He's still side by side of him. Here we go, coming into the S's. Finally slots behind Nicklaus. Dancing through the S's is the McLaren and the Red Bull. Good battling right now for 5th position. Yellow flag sector 3. I think Dempsey has had an issue with one of the Mercedes drivers. Finally into the pits. Dempsey just retires from the session. He is out of the race. Seafreeze. DRS again. Gonna try to make a move on Niklas. He's getting a little bit too far back this time. No, I think he'll still have a move. He's gonna go on the outside. Niklas keeps the inside line, the better line. Here we go again. Now it's Seafreeze, who I believe got a better exit, trying to move around the outside. Niklas covers him well. Good defense by the Red Bull. Now that switch back. See who gets a better exit. I believe it was Seafreeze, but had to hold up with Niklas. Lap number 20 of 28. This is going to be pretty much a battle till the end, I believe. The top three are battling really close right now. Diego McChicken gets a 3-second time penalty. Multiple warnings. He's caught up with Seafreeze and Niklas, who are having this major battle right now. Here we go. Seafreeze. Now the switchback. Now the better exit. Niklas can only do and watch as finally Seafreeze gets ahead of Niklas. It looked to be inevitable. And he might drop back a little bit as he loses it in the S's a little bit with that battle there. Diego trying to get ahead of Alp. Alp trying to get ahead of LR Ghosts. Now he might try to do it. Coming down the DRS zone. In the slipstream of Ghost. Here we go. Which lane will he take? He'll take the outside lane, I think. Yes. Trying to brake later, but no. And, ooh, Diego actually hits the back of him. I don't think he was expecting Alp to be so conservative, but Alp did not want to make the outside dive, and Diego made a little bit of contact with the two drivers there. Good battle for first position right now, though. McChicken is back within Niklas, who's on those hard compound tires. Niklas doesn't really have to stop again, I don't believe. The medium tire drivers might have to pit stop again. They don't technically have to, but the tire wear might be too much. In the slipstream, is Diego going to look on the inside? No, he's not going to, but Alp didn't get a great line through there. Nevertheless, he stays ahead of him. Niklas will have DRS coming up the straight, but it's not going to be a lot, as Seafreeze is starting to gain an advantage above him. Diego trying to chase him down. Here he comes towards the hairpin. We might see a move here. Is he going to dive on the inside into the hairpin? No, he looks on the hairpin, tries to fake out, but no comprendo from Alp's part. Alp now trying to break slipstream. Doesn't work. Does have to contend with the fact that now he's going to lose the Ghost, but he's trying to defend from Diego, who's definitely going to be on his tail pretty much the whole end of this race. Niklas is still behind Seafreeze. Now, what Niklas is hoping for is that if we go to the details, Niklas is on 11 old hards. All the other drivers are above 10 laps on those medium tires. What Niklas is hoping for is the drivers ahead of him pit again, put on new tires. Niklas would take the lead of the race. He's hoping for a mega win here. Flip-flop Fish. We have to not forget, that he is currently on charge to win the World Championship. He's currently in 4th, lap 22 of 28. 4th position right now. As it stands, he'll be World Champion in WSR. Seafreeze sitting in 5th. Niklas still chasing him down. Breaking into turn number 1. Seafreeze has not been able to get an advantage on Niklas. Niklas is having amazing pace on those hards, but no, we have to remember the mediums were not going to last as we thought. We expect a 2-stop, but everybody's extending it pretty long. Nobody really wants to make a pit stop because they know who's going to take the lead, and it's going to be Niklas. Flip-flop Fish is sitting in 4th, 7.9 seconds behind them. Seafreeze struggling with traction. Now DRS activated. We might see an overtake by Nicklaus if he can gain on him fast enough. What line is he going to take? Seafreeze is going to give him the inside line. I think that's a mistake. He's going to dive on the inside. Nicklaus will get the position on Seafreeze again. So the hard tire is working well for him. And Jonathan Cox gets a 3-second time penalty. McChicken is sitting in the top 10 right now for the Haas. Jonathan Cox all the way down in 14th. But Nicklaus back in the 5th. After an overtake on Seafreeze, who's on older mediums. And I think that mediums are starting to show their age. But the problem is, do all these drivers really want to give up that win? I think it might just be a one-stop. I don't think the drivers are going to pit again. I know the mediums are old, but they got to make them last because you're pretty much handing the victory to either Flip-Flop Fish or Nicklaus. Even Flip-Flop Fish, I don't think, would pit again even on the mediums. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I don't think the top driver is going to pit again. I think there's too much risk. It's a little bit too late into the race. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe go back onto the softs, but it just doesn't make much sense here. I think that Nicklaus was hoping that they'd go with the regular two-stop, but I think they're just going to stay out. It doesn't make much sense, but here we go. On LR Ghost, a big run on him. He's going to take the outside line. LR Ghost will look to defend as much as possible. Alp on Ghosts, taking a long, wide line on the outside, trying to go on the inside. Ghost keeping the outside line still, and oh, it's a spin! A spin by Alp at the end of the race, and it's going to be down the third. Flip-Flop Fish might take him. Yes, he will. He'll take third position, and that was a major spin by Alp. He was in the second position, and now Diego's up to second, and Ghost is still in first. But now the championship leader is on the podium. But now we just have two. So Nicklaus will definitely go to the end of the race. And Alp is into the pits. He has front wing damage. He'll put on the soft tires. We'll go for fastest lap of the race. Maybe at least some consolation prize. But Alp spun there in that incident. Trying to take the outside line with Ghost. Didn't work. He spun and is out of race winning contention. And it's going to actually might drop outside of the top 10. Yes, he is. So not a dashly race for him. Lap 24 of 28. And Diego will definitely be on the charge with Ghosts coming up to this next battle. Here we go. DRS activated. It's sunny skies here in Austin, Texas, and it might be a sunny victory for Diego. If he can get a good run, he's going to take the outside line. LR Ghost will cover it well. And yes, a good defense. Now Diego will try to look around the outside. He's going to take that outside line. It's a hard outside line to take, though. He might try around the inside. No, he'll take the outside line around here. Maybe the switchback. And what a great run by Diego. He might try it on the inside here. No, does not risk it. Nicklaus is caught back up to Seafreeze, who's sitting in fourth. Top 5 again for Nicklaus, and Seafreeze is still struggling under those medium tires. Diego with Slipstream on LR Ghost. Now again, remember, Diego does have a 3-second time penalty if I'm not mistaken, and that is going to affect him winning this race, even if he can get ahead of Ghost, which he can at the moment. Diego stays behind him. Lap 25 of 28, Flip-Flop Fish is in third. Seafreeze slots behind Nicklaus. Nicklaus gets himself in the fourth. Coming up towards the DRS zone, we're going to see here if Diego can get ahead of him, but he would have to get a 3-second lead ahead of him. Coming down the DRS zone. In the slipstream. Which lane will he take? I don't think he'll take any lane. He's too far back. LR Ghosts had gained enough on him to stay ahead. 7.5 seconds behind is Flip-Flop Fish. So I'm not expecting a pit stop at this point from the medium drivers. They made a one-stop work. contrary to what we believed. I believe it's because of those new tires that were on the race instead of the older tires, which is probably why we're not getting a 2-stop, is basically those tires that were 3 laps old got 3 laps saved. And coming on to lap number 26. So we'll have 3 laps to go, including this one. Diego in the slipstream. Might look in turn number 1. No. Too far back. LR Ghost looking for his first victory in WSR, trying to put a McLaren on the top step of the podium for the first time in WSR. Looking good for that victory. Even if Diego gets ahead of him, he has to extend it by 3 seconds, so Ghost would have to have a spin of some kind. Seafreeze is trying to catch up to Niklas. Niklas not able to extend. Alp sets the fastest lap as we expected him to on those soft tires. He's only sitting in 11th though, so it won't be a fastest lap for any other drivers, so he's simply just stolen the point away. Here comes Diego. He's going to take an outside lane, I presume, and there the move is made. Diego ahead in the braking zone. LR Ghost brakes late and is still side by side of Diego. On the inside is the Williams on the McLaren. Gets ahead of the McLaren, but no, still side by side, trying to take the outside line. Diego covers it well, a switchback by the McLaren, a better exit though by Diego, and finally Diego takes the lead of the race. But is it too little too late? We'll come up to the penultimate lap of this race. 2 laps to go. Diego leads the Grand Prix. Ghost is behind him. They're now just coming up to what looks to be, yes, that is the Mercedes of You See Me Flying, who has had a pitiful race all the way down in 16th. Niklas chasing down Seafreeze. DRS activated, coming up towards turn number 1. Definitely won't be an overtake here, but maybe on the DRS straight. Oh, actually outbroke himself a little bit there. That didn't help him. DePaster is trying to battle with Caruto now. It's Renault versus Ferrari as we're battling for, looks to be 9th on the grid. Baker is in the mix as well, so the 2 Ferraris are split up, but quite far down the grid. Niklas sitting in 5th. McChicken gets another 3-second time penalty. Caruto was definitely in a run for getting 7th on the grid if he can just keep within the penalty range of McChicken, who's had 9 seconds worth of penalties, if I'm not mistaken, at this point. It might even be 12 now. LR Ghost is dropping back a little bit from Diego. We come on to the final lap in this race. The Mercedes of You See Me Flying is about to get lapped. DePaster has gone ahead of Caruto. Caruto might look on the inside. No, now the Ferraris might have to contend with each other, but we move on to the final lap, and Diego is in the lead of the Grand Prix. The Mercedes of You See Me Flying is sitting in 16th and about to get lapped, and he does preferably let by Diego and Ghosts. Now Flip Flop Fish's teammate is about to come up towards him. One final shot for LR Ghost to win it on track, but if he doesn't win it on track, he'll win it through penalties. It's been a fantastic race for Ghosts. A horrid race for him in Australia with his collision with his teammate. His teammate's not here today. Seafreeze has been battling well. He's currently in 4th, but Niklas is still on the charge nonetheless. A yellow flag in Sector 1. I don't know what that is for. It's Caruto, I think. I think Caruto had a spin. Baker has penalties. Alp is back into the top 10, so at the moment he'll score that 1 point. Here comes Niklas. Final time, I think, to get ahead of Seafreeze in this race. DRS activated, coming down the line. Seafreeze looking to hold it. Here we go. A little bit too far back. Just no way to make an overtake there. Diego is coming around the final few turns. Now again, I believe Diego has a penalty. He's going to come around the penultimate turn on track. He is going to win the United States Grand Prix. But let's ride on board with LR Ghost. Does he jump in with penalties? Coming across the line, it is LR Ghost who takes the Grand Prix victory. But it's Flip Flop Fish who wins the WSR Formula World Championship. And he'll get on the podium in style to do it. Flip Flop Fish is your championship winner in WSR for Season 2. It's been a masterful performance all season. He gets on the podium in style. Nick also finished in 4th ahead of C Freeze, who finishes in 5th. DePaster will get ahead. McChicken all the way down in 9th, now 10th position. Alp will finish in 7th. LR Ghost takes the race win. Diego will finish in 2nd. Flip Flop Fish has won the WSR Formula World Championship. And what a great race win it was for him. What a race. What battles. The two Mercedes are on the podium, and we're getting some collisions, to say the least, on this final lap here. It's Bam Bam who's just about to finish the race. And there is the hand waving from the McLaren driver of LR Ghosts. He'll win the Grand Prix for the first time in WSR. For the first time ever, it's a McLaren on the top step. It's 2nd for Diego in the Williams. And it's 3rd for Flip Flop Fish, your winner of the WSR Formula World Championship. As champagne flies, we have yourselves a world champion. There's still 3 more races to go. Make sure to join us next week as we get set for action again in WSR. Thank you guys, everybody. They want to have an interview with Flip Flop Fish. Let's see if we can get that. People want an interview. I'm going to try to get him on board into the party chat. I'm going to invite him. And we'll get him for an interview with our new world champion. We're asking him right now. We'll see if he's open to it. Where is he? There he is. And there's your final lineup right there. LR Ghosts wins the Grand Prix. Diego in 2nd. Flip Flop Fish, your world champion, finishing in 3rd in style. And there is Flip Flop Fish, winner of the WSR Formula World Championship. Good race by you. You got on the podium there. Alp had that spin, which helped you get on the podium, but how was the race so far for you?
I mean, it was a good race. I had some good battles with Nick, Seafreeze, McChicken, Burn It Down, DePaster, I think, too. I accidentally forgot to put on my setup, so I was running default setup the whole race. That wasn't the greatest, but I still had some decent pace. Was hoping the top 2 would get some penalties, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So I'm happy with P3 and the championship.
Of course, yeah. We, of course, saw you last season. You were catching up to Sweet Crown 19, but just not enough time. Now you are world champion, and it was pretty much a flawless season for you. Pretty much no mistakes, and you are world champion in WSR. Congratulations to you, and congrats on the podium.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you, everybody, again for watching Worldwide Sim Racing. Make sure to tune in next week for the next race in the championship. It's not over yet, folks. We're still in bragging rights conditions. Thank you so much for watching. My name is WSRX, and have yourselves a wonderful night.